check one, check two. Good morning. Good morning. Tried to do an update yesterday, but I wasn't able to because I had a bunch of other things going on. But this is it. I just wanted to mention. Started this illustration the other day, and I tried to work on it. We're trying to do a page a day here, or at least an illustration a day, because that's, done it before, and I just like to keep doing it. It actually helps production, get things done faster, and you got to commit to what you draw within that space, 8 hours, 12 hours, 4 hours, wherever you draw in that space of a day. Once it's done, it's done. So this is an exercise in, I guess, I don't want to say anti-perfectionism, but I guess it is a battle against trying to be perfect. So just trying to put an idea down. Within a day, you only have so much time to figure out what that idea may be, and then to transport that idea onto the page. So yeah, this is what I got. I think I mentioned my last video, my last live video, and I actually got this idea from another illustration. I think I mentioned before in a video called "The Truth About Tracing." I went through the different ways to trace, and I had traced this image from another image that I had drawn previously that I'm not going to use. And this is the image right here. But like I said, I don't like to trace, but I will trace something that I've already drawn, because I can't use this. If you're familiar with running Xerox, Liberatore, heavy metal back in the 80s and 90s. The problem with those, the Liberatore's running Xerox is not necessarily the violence, it's the gratuitous, weird sexual nature. Hey, thank you, E. Thanks a lot. Hello. Yeah, I was just getting into Rand Xerox and Liberatore from heavy metal, and how I wanted to do a story. Of course, I don't have the rights, so I'm not going to do it. So I ended up scrapping this idea and tracing this image to create this image, which I just finished yesterday, and I'm ready to take it to color. I gotta scan it first, but so yeah, just a little progress report. I will be drawing live in a couple minutes after I explain a little something. So, okay, we mentioned these characters before, and this is another page. It's a splash where they end up coming up against this giant lobster creature called the Haktua. Okay? And what I need to do is draw. This page will be an even page, which is like a left-hand page. So I need to draw a right-hand page. See what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to mirror this with another single page splash, because I like all the impact to go on this page, right? So I have to come up with some panels, and I came up with these thumbnails earlier. All right, you can see the robot here, and the girl being swept up by this bird guy, right? The bird guy's a nice guy, so he's little dialogue here. Right, simple dialogue. Follow me, robot. Soon there will be hordes in the marshlands, and let the amphibians handle the Haktua. which is the creature, yeah. They speak a different language, so. And from there, what I'm going to do today is basically get the next page figured out. From the thumbnails, zoom in on them. And they're pretty small thumbnails. They're not that small. Actually, they're like a quarter of a, I don't know, 5 by 4 inches, maybe 5 by 3 inches. But you can see how much like detail you can actually get done on a very small drawing, right? This is why thumbnails are a good thing to practice. Because if you try to do this on a large page, it's difficult to hold the proportions. So yeah, I would suggest, you don't always have to do it, but try it one of these days. It might actually be benefit you. And real quick before I do that, this is another story project I'm working on. These guys right here are called Bad Hombres. I have an anthology I'm working on, so there's a bunch of different stories. Trying to do like kind of in different styles, but it's kind of tough because sometimes like they might look too similar, so that might not always be consistent. Anyways, these are the Bad Hombres. They occupy what is now called Route 66, and the comic book's probably going to be called. They used to call Route 66 Route 666. Very interesting, huh? That you would call it interstate that number. Back when they first called it that. And it's a very rough area between New Mexico, I think from Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, all the way to the coast of California. And it's the most treacherous, not just because the savage Indians, which, you know, holler at me if you're angry about me saying that. But the desert is a very hard place to live in. If you were on I don't know, let's say a horse and buggy, yeah, you might not make it to Cali. But that back in the day, that is. It's a very tough place to live, very harsh. But anyways, they occupy that, and they're hired men and women. And this is a little panel intro of them. You see I got the logo on top. Bad Hombres. And it pretty much gives you their names. This is Raven, that's Monarch, and this is Coyote. And yeah, that's just a little sneak peek at that. This is going to be a short page story. Nothing epic. Well, it all depends on what you consider epic and how epic can you get in a short story, like just a 22-page one and done. We will exercise and attempt that feat. And I'd like you guys to join me and, I don't know, comment down below if you think, when you look at my work, if you could think of anything that I can improve on or advice. Because it's all great. It's all good. It's good feedback. On this live stream, I'm just going to kick it and draw, so if you get bored, you can leave, you can come back, you do whatever you want. It's Thursday morning, and yeah, this is what I do every day, so I'm just going to probably be on for about an hour, that's it. So if I am unable to say hello to you guys because my nose is on the table, I apologize in advance. Well, yeah, feel free to say what's up. I might catch it. So let's work that thumbnail. if I can find it. And here's the last place I thought it would be. I sat on it. All right, here we go. So let's get. So let's get a good look at this. I have it here. You can see that we're looking from above down, and how easy that is to capture, especially from imagination when you're drawing thumbnails. If I were to try to draw this large at first shot, I probably would have got this angle wrong. I don't know why, it just happens that way. I mean, it's from experience, I can admit that happens to me, at least. So we're gonna go strictly thumbnail today, and we're gonna try to get this on this page right here. So if I can get that blur to go away. If I can get that blur to go away, I'll be drawing. Spoon. I'm just eating ice cream today. Yeah, in the morning. Why not? Goes good with bourbon. I'm joking. I'm not drinking. I would love to have a drink of bourbon, but all I have is vodka. Oh, too early for that too. So I'm here with ice cream and coffee. I'm ready to work this thumbnail out. So we're going to start with our blue pencil, non-photo blue pencil. Back in the day, they used to have things called copy machines. That if you use the blue pencil and inked on top of it, any mistakes that were made in blue would not get photographed by the copier. Today you can take it into Photoshop, select the blue color, and get rid of it that way. Alright, let's be a stickler to the thumbnail. So there's a bird guy, right? And these are going to be kind of basic. I'm gonna up front, I want these panels to be a little bit more basic because I'm doing this. This page is going to be done today, right? So doing a page a day, so I have to really trust how I'm going to throw these layouts down. All right, I'm going to go simple shapes at first. Then I'm going to hone in on the detail. So that's I'm not sure if you can see well, but it's whatever. I'm doing this anyways. So basically the bird guy is attempting to save our young heroine, or female hero here. And my arms, maybe he's a little more this way, yeah, because I want her more forward here. Head, her head will be there. She's got her arms up because this guy's talons are grabbing her arms. Right. Talons, I don't know if you can make that up, but hopefully you can. Alright, so since we're looking down, I'm going to draw her chest this way. Rather than down here where she's standing straight, right? We'll put her right behind her head. It's called overlap. If I had to draw through, you'd see where that is. And you do this from imagination without reference because you understand how that's done. You practice with mannequin and use your imagination on top of that. And you've also drawn from life. There are some things that models will not pose. You need a mannequin for that, so. And I know some people say you can't learn from a mannequin, but if you don't have an imagination, you really can't learn from something that's just simple primary shapes, right? Which is what do? We use simple primary shapes. So that's what you learn from the mannequin. All right, so her arms coming out. Her arms come out like, okay, let's have her from grabbing her so her arm comes out like this. All right, you're not just doing the same thing. One is doing something else. And her hand, she's surprised. So her hands are going to be open. I'm just drawing an impression of a hand, which I can easily change later. And this hand, put down here, and just a really quick gesture of a hand that we can refine later. Like I said, we only have 4 to 8 hours to do this. Because I'm not staying up all night doing it. I do not have a deadline, so I can actually use my own self-control to actually make this happen, rather than rely on strict deadlines. Sometimes deadlines could, mess with you. They really can. Sometimes deadlines can mess with you. Sometimes, Okay. Put her leg out like this. Now these are all like go-to. Like what I'm doing with her legs, the knee up, the other leg back. These are like go-to poses, right? I mean, how else would she be reacting in this situation? How else would her legs be, right? So since it makes sense that her legs would do the go-to thing, then just, if you've drawn this, you've drawn it 1,000 times. So we have this bolt coming down here. I don't know what that represents yet. It might not even be a bolt, but it's to separate the top panel from the bottom panel. Okay, let's get our bird a little darker here. He's got his back tail feathers coming. And really big chest birds. And we'll just go to they have short legs, but they got long arms with talons. I mean legs, I mean thighs. And I just want to focus on these wings right now, just so I can get them right. He's more like a crow or a raven, so he's a crow, so he has really kind of shaggy, almost raggedy looking feathers, but believe me, the feathers are pristine. They just hang interestingly, right? Make to lift this up a little bit, just to get it in a good, better position there. So you guys can see that. No, this guy. Right here. He's down here, so it's just a simple, here's his head. Here's his rib cage, chest part. Now this is a big guy, but we have to make him a little smaller here because these two are up above him, right? So he can't look bigger than them in this angle. All right, here's the other. Here's a robot, like you were watching earlier. Is these two guys? There's who I'm drawing, right? And the other, the other guy is a bird guy. So let me get my. There you go. Sorry about that. There's a lot going on here. I'm trying to focus, and I really can't very well. So just bear with me. I'm only going to be here for like 40 more minutes, so I got stuff to do. All right? But yeah, hopefully you guys are having a great day, lovely day. And that everything is hunky-dory and lovely for you guys, because the sun is shining. And then once again, the hand impression of a hand is really all you need. He's kind of surprised looking up at him. All right. Just as simple. Look how slow. Yeah, chicken scratch is fine. We're gonna go back in there and tidy that up at some point before the day is over. Now look at it. I don't know if you can see that, but the way I have that, it's just a very simple blur. There we go. Very hard to see, but it's a very simple kick, right? It's pretty much like this. Comes up to his knee and then it kind of loops like that, right? That's it. That's it. Right? Comes up, it actually goes down lower and loops. Now from here, this is what we call shorthand. It's more of a short cut than a shorthand because this is not what it's going to look like. It's kind of just understanding that that thigh is going to be up here. It's going to go to that knee. You can even loop that knee. Come down, make the heel of the foot. And this would be correct overlap. And I'll show you that right now. Overlap would be, all right, he's got gear. Got his thigh, which is pretty thin. And then his boot is pretty big. It's kind of long and it goes like this. So here it goes. Almost like that. And if you want to do like a lattice wrap around, it would be it'd be like this basically. All right. So you can see how that works. And of course, this hand is going to come out of this socket here, and it's going to go like this. Right, so that space between that wing and that tail, that's where his hand's going to go. It's all placement, and you want your characters to breathe. You want them to overlap when one's in the foreground and background. In this case, I didn't need to because I had enough room. And I think it's important to lean into your negative space sometimes, especially if it's a scene that's not claustrophobic, right? If you jump, like storytelling, if you want the reader to feel claustrophobic, then you mash your characters together so that they look like they're, crammed together. It feels the feeling, even if they're not really crammed together in a closet or something, some tight room or some like submarine. So yeah, keep your characters separate. Your silhouettes are. See, as you can see here, you can see the silhouettes, right? And without any construction, well, you can still see the construction, but if I were just to draw the silhouette, you still would be able to make out what's going on. Right, so let's do this view. Right, and it's just comes out like this. And the other leg back here, right? So if I were to draw his little pelvic bowl here, pelvic basin, I think it's called. It's like a basin, so it'd be like this, right? And make him look like a pair of, like, I don't know, Speedos or briefs. And there's a little ball joint here inside of it where it connects those hip and those thighs. At least the way that I have his body, it's based on a human body. It's just a little different. He's got these big, chunky boots. Boot-looking legs, right? Which you can see right here. And knee joint there. All right, so since this other leg, here is the hip, right? So that joint, this joint that's here on this thigh, would be right there. And where would it go? In order for that boot, which I just put the circle here. So where would this hip joint go in order for that boot, which if I drew through, I would get tangents, and it's a good thing we're not drawing through. Go right there, and then the knee, or the knee would be right here, which would make that thigh go there. So you got to understand what's going on, okay, underneath all this overlap, in order for, especially from imagination, because you're not using reference. You have to use your own understanding of, I guess, what you've obtained through learning and drawing this kind of stuff from life, right? Once you study it from life, or mannequin, then you can see it. And that gives you the ability to draw quickly without reference. I don't know, something that you can finish quickly, and it still looks, I guess half decent, as opposed to using AI or something like that. Okay, let me think here. I'm looking for an eraser. Here it is. So you get the gist of what I'm doing here with all this overlap and understanding. Right, so now you see he's got a nice little up-looking gesture there, and it makes sense, right? Why that foot is back here, or at least the heel of his foot is back here. Okay. It's not perfect, but it reads, right? And of course, this is my first draft of this, so I will refine it as I go along. I won't be filming all that, because by the time I get to that point, we're at 30 minutes now, so I only have 30 minutes left. This is like a 4-hour job, so you guys can only get to see, I guess, me laying it out in the pencil stage. Pencil stage is the best for making your mistakes, because we all make them. You don't want to ink any mistakes. You want to erase them before you get to the inks, right? Sud Sudhanshu, you want to say, hey, listen, man, where do you start? I'll, I'll tell you exactly where you start. You grab you some paper like this, right? This regular 11 by 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You grab 7 of them and you fold them in half. All right, you fold them in half. And I say 7 because that gives you 22 pages altogether. I believe that is 22 pages. If it's an extra 4, then count that for the cover. But otherwise, it should be 22 pages, I think. And then if you want to add a cover, add an extra sheet. And what do you have here? Oh, look at that. What you got? You got pages turned. And you figure out what you want to draw. You said you want to learn how to draw. You want to draw comic books. This is how you do it. You figure out the name of the comic book you want. You draw the hero on the cover. If you have a story, write it. It doesn't have to be a long story. All it's got to be is 3 acts. What do you do with 3 acts within 22 pages? Well, you divide 22 by 3. And you try to fit first act in the pages, the first third, second third, and then the third third. And that's basically how you, I guess, structure or write it. Drawing it, you want to start with the basics. And that is drawing what you want to draw. If you want to draw something very realistic, it's going to take you a while to render. You just want to draw some, cartoony, but yet, lovable superhero that's, everybody loves. He's a great guy, and everybody wishes they was them, but takes a huge beating every time he tries to help somebody. Then he'll be relatable, right? And let me see here. If we never have felt that way ourselves, we know people that are like that. So that's why they're lovable. They love people like that. So, right? And you draw him out. This guy, he doesn't conform to any real. Well, he kind of does, but his proportions are totally off. There's no such. But it's cartoony, right? So you can, I don't know what his name is. You'll see what I'm saying. You just learn how to draw, and you draw it however you draw it. If you love drawing it, you're just gonna learn how to get better, anyways. I guess what I'm saying is, if you want to learn how to draw comic books, this would be the first place to start. But you really want to you really, really want to do it, right? You really have to want to do it, right? Am I wrong? I mean, you have to really want to do it. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. I have several things, and I love doing it. Getting it done is very difficult when you have a bunch of other stuff that you got to, go about your day with until you can get to the table. This is why I only stream for an hour, right? You got to find an hour out of the day. Anyways, yeah, so you start there. What's his name? Hero Man. You get you a nice logo, Hero Man. All right, you think of the title, put the title somewhere. You put your credits down here. He's got his fist going. Maybe he's got some superpowers on his fists. Let's change that over here and make his fist right here. All right? On there. See how I'm changing this up pretty simply? It doesn't have to be realistic. If you aren't realistic, then get one of your friends to come over. They don't have to be muscular. I mean, heck, this doesn't have to be a guy who models for this. You can get your girlfriend and just tell her, hey, baby, do me a favor, would you? Act like you're a superhero so I can, and you can model her for, you just have to use your imagination and put on top of that. This is why I recommend the mannequin. It's just a simple wooden skeletal figure, which if you understand how it moves, in perspective and all that stuff. It's this primary forms, primitive shapes like tubes and circles, right? And boxes, which is what you want to know, right? So with that mannequin, you can put anybody on top of it. On this mannequin, I could put a girl, I could put Frankenstein, right? On top of it. I could put the Incredible Hulk on top of it. So I would start there. If you're already kind of good at drawing, I don't see why you wouldn't just take 7 sheets of paper, fold them, and start doing it. Even if it's not up to the standards of, your capability. Like, let's just say, okay, look at my stuff. I am no Mark Silvestri, okay? I am no Bernie Wrightson, okay? I am no John Byrne. I'm no Neil Adams. I'm no Jim Lee. But you know what? I love doing this shit. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. And I think, I've actually worked pretty hard to get to the level where I'm at, so I don't see any reason to stop me. But I was doing this before I got to this level, just by drawing smaller, like simple cartoons. Like Charlie Brown and stuff, Fred Flintstone. I'm telling you, man, you learn from all of that stuff, especially story beats and how to move your characters, right? How to keep them consistent. That's kind of a scribble, but Chuck Jones was kind of scribbling it, and it was still beautiful. Right? He knew how to move these characters. He knew how to make this dude flip. Right? He tuck his head in, right, looking straight at Lucy. His legs were up here. He had shorts on, I think. His arms was right here. He knew how to make these guys move. His mouth open or something. He looks like a duck now. Anyway, like this, when he tried to kick, Lucy would pull the football. It's a gag, but it worked because he knew how to make a move. Believable. I mean, yeah, sure. You suspend your disbelief for Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny, right? So it's not difficult to suspend your disbelief for your stuff, right? So yeah, that's what you want to do if you want to make a comic book. You open it, what you got? You got some credits here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, if that's the cover, then you got credits here. And then what else you got? All right. You got your splash page, your first page. You got the title of the story right there. Or put the title down here and put your superhero's name again. And then you draw yourself a situation. The situation can start at the beginning of the story. It can start from the middle of the story. It could be right towards the end before you get to the end, just so it makes it worth a person to want to go through all those pages to flip that last page. And this is why 22 pages, to me, is the gimmick, right? You can go 23. The reason why 22 pages is the gimmick is because the 22nd page is right here. It's a page turn reveal, right? Page 21, right? Even odds. That's a 21. Every right-hand page is an odd, right? 1, right? 3, 5, so on. So the even page, if there is no odd page on that end, which if you use 22 pages, this will be your last page, right? So boom, the last page is a reveal and a cliffhanger, because tune in next week, right? Or the end, okay? This page has you wanting to turn it like, oh, what's gonna happen? This is the ultimate page flip. Is this page right here? You're doing a 22-page comic book, and you're cutting it in thirds for your acts. And what would it be? 21 would be 7. So yeah, you got 7 pages to work in your acts. Right? 7? Yeah. So that's not a bad a space of time to get something done. One and done. So yeah, marinate on that. Hopefully, you understood what I was saying. I'm trying to make as much sense out of it as possible, without actually sitting here and drawing a whole comic book. But we can go further if you guys are interested in that. I mean, any more questions on how to do you practice drawing? A mannequin with drawing characters' hair. It's hard for me. I'm working. Hey, I understand that. Sudhanshu, yes. Yeah, hair is probably the most difficult thing. Every time I draw hair, especially a girl's hair, right? Because it's, you got to make it look nice. You can't just, I guess that's probably why my new character, who's female, where's the beanie hat? Just so I don't have to draw hair, right? She does have hair under there. Yeah, I'm going to cop out and do that whole, oh, look at the cute, tomboy. All of a sudden she's gorgeous, right? The old trope. But that's not till later on, so. But yeah, to avoid drawing hair. I don't know, because hair, a lot of the a character, like an original character, they have a lot of personality in their hair, right? Yes, it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult. Well, hair is really soft, so it's not hard, right? It's very difficult to draw because it's soft, right? Because it flows, it moves, the wind blows, right? And it's, even if it's short hair, right? Let's just draw. Go ahead and draw something. I'm over here trying, just talking. Don't draw anything. Nah. It's like my 1980s science teacher. Read the book. And I'm like, man, I want to see those chemicals react. See, that would have been worth going to science class, right? And what do? I draw instead because it's not as boring as reading a book I'm never going to see stuff happen. So I'll just show you how it works. Right? Just so I can put my money where my mouth is. Right? Because I like you guys. I like you. I like the interaction. I like being asked questions. So, what kind of hair do we have? I don't know. You can have one of those cute, quirky anime hairstyles, right? Get your nose over here. She's got big eyes, of course, because why not? I don't know. Let's give her some quirky, right? I guess this hair would look kind of hard. Or you can make it look really soft. Let's give her all right. This reminds me of Justy. I don't know if you guys know who Justy is. Justy's an old anime comic book that used to come out in the 80s. I didn't look for it. Well, my buddy had a bunch of them. He used to look for them. And he hit me to this joint in Chinatown back in the early 80s. If you ever, listen, here's a secret. If you got a Chinatown near where you live, don't buy your manga at half price or whatever, the Starbucks books or whatever. Screw those guys. But then again, they might be nice people, I'm just saying. Your local Chinatown will have the same manga, and without all they might have some of the stuff that you find at the expensive bookstores, but I guarantee you, they'll have the real manga, right? Like the faded ink pages with the, it looks like an American phone book. I think I froze at 44 seconds, 44 minutes. Did I say something wrong? Hey, listen. Every Chinese I know in America does not like communism. They love it here, so I'm not promoting any politics. I'm just saying, if you want to save some money, go to your local Chinatown, get your manga. And if you already know that, then shame on you for not telling your friends or anybody who wants to look for manga. Anyways, since my camera appears to be frozen and I don't know why, we're going to end this at 44 minutes. And I'm going to continue on with this right here, what I started, that page. And I will chime in. I'm over here talking and drawing as if you could still see me drawing. Anyways, I'm going to chime in a little later. All right? Out. Peace. Have a great day.